Welcome, come in, come in. Hello everybody, welcome to this presentation. ChatGPT, let's chat. Did anyone recognize the song in the introduction? The new song by the Beatles, made possible by AI. By the way, this session has been brought to you by insights from meetings.com, thanks to Ian Jemson. I'm just joking. Can I ask a couple of questions? Who has been playing with ChatGPT already? Yeah, that's very different from a couple of months ago where there were only a few hands. So I hope I will not kick in open doors. Otherwise, please tell me to skip and to go on. Who has a ChatGPT Plus account? Whoa, almost half. Okay, for those that don't, maybe you will reconsider after this presentation. Okay, my name is Joris Aarts from Clickworks. A little bit about myself. Yeah, you can read it over here. So I started together with my brother Jeroen. We started Clickworks in 2005. We're based in this city, Antwerp, Belgium. We are now a wonderful team of 15. Very proud. You saw the team in action during the last couple of days. So very proud of those guys. I'm personally certified in all versions of FileMaker. I went to several European conferences, and I was also a speaker at DEF CON in 2019, the last DEF CON. And I will be a speaker in Austin as well. I just got the confirmation last week. My passions are sailing and playing the guitar. So that's who I am. A little disclaimer about this presentation to set your expectations right. This will not be a technical in-depth session, nor a theoretical session about the inner workings of AI. This will be a very practical, hands-on session about how you can use it in your day-to-day life and in your day-to-day routine as a FileMaker developer. I'm not standing within these boundaries, but very hard for me. And just one example, because things are moving very fast. I did this presentation, by the way, in Berlin, or a part of this presentation at .fmp in Berlin. Did anyone attend that presentation in Berlin? Only a couple. Okay, I will not try to repeat myself too much. I have a couple of new examples, but a certain part will overlap. Now, this is what DALL-E 2 came up with if I gave it a prompt like, yeah, I'm Alice in Wonderland just discovering the brave new world of AI. And that's what it generated, right? Now, if I do the same thing today, this is DALL-E 3. This is what I get now. So I asked it to create an image for my presentation. And let me show you what prompts I used. Can you read the text, or should I make it bigger? Can you read it in the back? No? Try. Is this better? Okay. So I want an image for my presentation. Use blue and yellow, like the EngageU colors. And so don't you think that guy looks a little bit like me? A little bit. So. And then immediately you see one of the issues with AI. I asked it to just change the hair color to like more my color, my beautiful silverback gray. And you see one of the problems with AI. It generates a guy with gray hair, but a different guy, right? So it is not really deterministic. It does the pattern all over again, and you get unpredictable results. Okay. And one of the latest additions that I just discovered last week, I didn't like this one at all. But I learned about seed values and the fact that the new models will allow you to retrieve the seed value that has been used for a certain image and then reuse that in subsequent prompts. So I tried it. So can I get the seed value, please? Oh, yes. Apparently it's a number. Well, no, some number. And then I said, like, okay, and I will regenerate the image using that seed value and just change the color to gray. And this is what I got. So it came back almost to the original image again. It didn't change much to the hair color, but at least it proved to me that something like a seed value works to get more predictable results out of the AI, okay? Oh, sorry. This is the final result. This is what I got. And for some reason, it always wants to make the hair curly, but okay, that's a little detail. So that's one example. Topics I will cover today, so this overlaps a little bit for those who were at .fmp with what I've been showing there. So I will show you how ChatGPT can help you as a FileMaker developer assistant. I added 2 new topics. I have a couple of demos of smart apps. So new kinds of apps we can now build in FileMaker very easily by integrating ChatGPT within our FileMaker solution. I have 3 apps, and I have 1 free download in the downloads folder for this conference. Another thing that's just new is data analysis, now included in ChatGPT 4. And then those topics were also topics I covered in Berlin, using ChatGPT as a research assistant, mock data generator, coding assistant, web scraper, and copywriter. Okay, so we'll see how much time we have. I have until what time? I have 1 hour, right? Okay. So we'll see. Is there any particular thing that you want to see addressed first? No. Yes. Web scraping. Web scraping. Okay. Okay. Make sure that we go through that. Thank you. Short introduction. ChatGPT 101. What is a prompt? What is a completion? So the prompt is basically the text, the input that you feed to the AI. It's the text you type, okay? The query or the text you provided. The completion is the result you get back, all right? Tokens. What are tokens? Tokens, you can ask ChatGPT, of course, what is a token? It will explain you. Tokens almost overlap with words. And the number of tokens are important for 2 things. First, what you pay. You pay for the total amount of outgoing and incoming tokens, so both prompt and completion, right? But a tiny, tiny little amount. And also there are, at this time, there are limits on the number of tokens you can have in a prompt and in a completion at a time. It was 4,000 tokens. It has been raised to 16,000 tokens, and now it has been raised again to 32,000 tokens. So that's already a lot of text that you can now feed to the AI or get that amount of results back. And I will show you some examples of that, okay? So the tokens determine the limits and the costs of AI service. Now, there is a free version, so those who don't have a Plus account have probably used the free version. This is free. You need to register with openai.com. I believe you need to create an account, but then you can use it for free. And you get the 2nd best language model, which currently still is ChatGPT 3.5. And I will show you some examples of the difference between 3.5 and the latest language model, GPT-4. All right? You have no API access. If you pay $20 a month, you get a ChatGPT Plus account, which gives you much more, which gives you the latest GPT-4, which gives you the advantage of plugins, for instance, for web scraping, data analysis, DALL-E, like the picture generation you saw. You have API access, so you can integrate ChatGPT in your FileMaker solution. Currently using API calls. In the future, we will get a FileMaker script step I just learned during this conference. And you get also faster responses. Is it worth it? I hope I can convince you. If you have registered a paid account, you get access to the OpenAI Playground, which allows you to test your API calls before implementing them in your solution. So the different elements on the screen you see are the different things you pass through in JSON through an API call. So you can specify a system prompt. These are the high-level instructions to ChatGPT on what it is and how it should behave. And then you can give several examples, user messages and assistant messages. I think I can do a live demo of that. Had something open. So the system message is, for instance, yes, you are a helpful assistant, which is not really helpful, but can be very specific, like limited to Belgium, limited to Dutch, limited to, you can specify boundaries, limits, what you expect. And then you can specify several, either user or assistant replies. You can toggle. So the reason for this is that you can create examples. You can say, I will show you a business card scanner, and I provided one example of a business card text, and then the result I want to get back. And that example helps tremendously to get predictable results as well. So we can specify several example discussions or questions between a user and an assistant, and this will be helpful in generating future answers. And then there are other parameters which I will not go too much into detail. The most important is the temperature or the creativity or the randomness. So if you higher the temperature, you will get more creative results, but you often don't want more creative results. So I didn't play too much with it. Normally I leave it at the default value of 1, all right? And as you can see, and this is new, GPT-4 has now become available for API access. That's brand new since a couple of weeks. So a couple of weeks ago, we were still limited to 3.5 for API. Now you can use GPT-4, but it is much slower. So I think that's what the turbo means in the name. Like GPT 3.5 turbo responds much faster than GPT-4. But GPT-4 is much smarter. Okay, back to the slides. Yeah, some side notes. As we all know, AI can be biased. It has been pre-trained, generative pre-trained transformer. So it has been pre-trained on a lot of data, but there's some bias in the source data, so you get a biased AI. Currently, it is very hard to determine the source of information. You can try to ask ChatGPT, like, where does this come from? You are wrong, and it will often mess up, since nobody knows exactly how these AIs produce their results, let alone where they got the information from. There are some climate remarks. It's costing a lot of resources, all these AI things, so there are some side notes. And predictability can be a problem. Now, let's dive into it, and I would like to start with the first. That one is fixed, then the two others, and then maybe jump ahead to web scraping and then see how it goes, all right? But I like this story, and I don't know if Seri is in the room. I have permission to use you as an example, right? Okay, thanks, Seri. I want to show you, like when I first discovered ChatGPT, like beginning of this year, what happened? We have junior developers at ClickWorks, like Serhi, who is now not really junior anymore. But at that time, yeah, often we give them like things to do and like building functions or custom functions. That's a common task that we ask to a junior, like, hey, can you build a custom function for this or that? And look how it went with Serhi and how ChatGPT responded. So this is literally my chat discussion with Sergi. I needed a custom function to extract a portion of a URL, the portion in bold, okay? And so I asked Sergi, hey, Sergi, can you build that for me? Oh, yes, sure. And he asked a very smart question, does the link always look like this? Yeah, okay, you got it. And like 10, 15, no, 12 minutes later, he came back with like, hey, I made this function using the middle. Yeah, I don't need to explain you that. He even used the let function very cleverly. So after 10, 15 minutes, I got my custom function and I could go on, right? Now, I tried the same thing 1 week later with ChatGPT, just as a test. And let's see how it went, ChatGPT 3.5. So this is the prompt. Could you please write me a FileMaker custom function? Hyperlink will always look like this. And within seconds, it generated this formula, and it took a different approach than Serhi. Serhi counted the number of forward slashes. This one was looking for the pattern where there was a 0 in the hyperlink. So it looked good. And I just asked, yeah, but you can make this shorter, use the let function. And it did correctly, so this looks very convincing, right? And then I realized that, yes, but maybe the 0/ pattern is not a good idea, maybe base it on the number of forward slashes. And so it changed it again. And I was wildly enthusiastic about it, like, yeah, wow, this works. It uses let, it uses middle, it uses position, but you have probably already spotted an issue with this function. It doesn't work. Brief message, it's just rubbish. You can take the position, but then add 2 to the positions, gives you 2 letters, not the third occurrence of that thing. So it totally messed up that part. And I didn't realize in the beginning, so I was stupid just discovering that it didn't work. And then it got frustrating. And I tried and I tried and I tried. And that's the general experience with ChatGPT 3.5. It's hallucinating. And it's making up, yeah, no kidding. It's just telling you stories, very convincing stories, like, hey, I'm using let and I'm using middle, but it's rubbish. It doesn't work. Okay? Now let's compare that with ChatGPT 4. So the paid version right now, $20 a month, okay? ChatGPT 4, same thing. Hello, could you write me a custom function? Blah, blah, blah. Sure. Bam. And no. I think I'm sharing the wrong one, sorry. Okay. I'm a bit confused, sorry, because I copy-pasted this in FileMaker and it worked, but yes, it still used the 0 pattern. But this one is correct. It came right from the start. It came up with a let function without me asking for it, and it came up with a correct function. And that, to summarize, is my general experience with ChatGPT 4, that it provides more often better, accurate results. But always check. You can never be sure. It pretends, it's very good at convincing you, like, hey, this is real, but it's always made up by an AI. You should always verify. I have other examples as well. For instance, a password generator. And same pattern, GPT 3.5. I want the 20-character passwords. So generate me that, sorry, scrolling up. So can you create a FileMaker custom function? And this was real, yeah, bullshit. It looks very convincing. It even uses a while insert the let. It looks real. It's not real. It does not work. It does not work. And I tried, and as you saw me scrolling, it went on, and I was a bit naive and believing, like, yeah, I can nudge it in the right direction. This will eventually work. No, sorry, didn't work at all. Okay, GPT-4 nailed it straight from the first attempt. I think. Sorry, scrolling up. Yeah, it works. It works from the first attempt, and you saw it using the let statement. And I asked it to rewrite and use while, and that worked as well. So this gave me usable results. So you can think about it what you want. Sometimes it hallucinates, sometimes it's not helpful, but the times that it is helpful, it's actually just copy-paste, and you can start using it. So it saves you time, even if you need to verify and if you need to change a parameter or two because it got something wrong. I didn't need to set up this whole let statement and this whole while statement by myself. So that alone already saved me some time. Okay. Yeah, so this is the data viewer in FileMaker. So I just copy-pasted it, and so just to prove to you that it worked. So it produced a workable, fairly complex function. Another example, date conversion, same pattern. 3.5, a lot of rubbish going on. 4 came straight to the point, and I learned a lot of things from it, like converting ISO date format to a timestamp is not something I do every day, and something that will take me maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes to figure it out and to assemble. Well, I got the basic setup straight away, and I just needed to tweak for daylight savings time and that kind of things. So that saves us time. So the rule at ClickWorks now is you don't write functions anymore. First try ChatGPT, and if that doesn't work, then start writing your functions by hand, okay? So these were a couple of examples for FileMaker as a development assistant. Now, some smart apps, or I call it smart, a couple of examples. The first one is the tool we now use internally. We baptized it ClickGPT. The goal was to make ChatGPT accessible to our entire team at ClickWorks by using just one $20 a month account. I don't want to pay that for every ClickWorks user. So I use the API, and I built an application that is tightly integrated in our day-to-day timesheet system. So this is our database we use for the projects we are following up. And so built in is ClickGPT. And I set it up as a WebDirect application so that it can sit alongside FileMaker, so you don't need FileMaker to use it. It's very easy, it's very simple. I have some predefined prompt for custom functions, for data collection, for social media posts. We use it for all kinds of things. And they can add their own templates if they want. It's like auto-create, it generates new records in FileMaker. You know how that works. So a data collection example, at a certain moment I needed a list of country codes for Schengen countries in ISO notation. That's something you can perfectly ask to ChatGPT, and boom, you immediately get the results back, copy, paste, or import in your FileMaker table, and you're done. So that's one example of very quick data collection. You could Google that, of course, but you can also ChatGPT that, which is what we do, and it is integrated in our database. It's in WebDirect. Katja used it a lot, I believe, for social media posts, also around this event. And it is excellent at writing these posts with all the emojis and all that. It generates it on its own. So we use that extensively. Oh, there she is, Katja. At our office. So that's one example. And another example I have is scanning business cards. Dinara, but she's not in this room, she built a demo file for you, and I recorded the video of how that worked. So these are the instructions, this is the prompt I used. So it's all about so-called prompt engineering, like crafting a prompt that is effective and predictable. You are a business card reader, some rules about country codes. I want to get output as JSON. And I gave it one example. So you see a real scanned business card text. So first we get the text from the business card by taking a picture of it. You can use live text. FileMaker's built-in live text in FileMaker Go. It works. We use the get live text. So we first snap a picture in a container. And this is the example I gave. So I expect the results coming back in this JSON form so that I can easily parse it out and digest it in FileMaker. And here's how it works. So this is the application you find in the downloads folder. Trying to start the video here. Yeah, it is running. So I open the business card reader. This is a contact, simple contacts app. You see contact detail and company detail. There you go. Going back to contacts. Now I'm going to hit the camera icon, the scan button. And we provided you with our API key to do like up to 20 tests on our account. Cheers, it's on the house. Okay, so you can use a couple of times. If you want to download the unlocked version, you need to register your own API key. So this is how it works. You scan or you snap a photo of a business card, and now you will see the URL transfer. So it's not streaming, that will maybe come in the next version of FileMaker, but now you see, you get the results back fairly quickly. I didn't cut this video, this is real. So in a couple of seconds, you get the content from the business card. I not only got the contact information with the phone number, but also the company information. Now I'm trying to get the unlocked version, so I think I'm going to hit unlocked version this time. Yes, so the locked file will be closed. and you will find an unlocked file, which you have full access to. And when you hit the camera icon in the unlocked file, you will get this message. Like, hey, please enter your own API key to continue. And so I'm going to paste one API key. And then you can start using it. It validates, so it checks with OpenAI if your API key is valid, and then you can immediately start using it. So that file is in the downloads folder, and you can explore how it works. Snapping a picture again. Boom, there you go. I think that's a handy feature. It's built in our CRM, so if I get handed over a business card, then I can now snap a picture and immediately have it in my FileMaker database. Question?
Which AI were you using for that? Which model were you using to generate that?
Yes, I'm using 3.5. Yeah. It is powerful enough to figure out what's his first name, what's the last name, what's the phone number, etc. I tested with 4 just before this conference, of course, and 4 is a lot slower. That's the main difference. It didn't produce better results, and it was a lot slower. Hence the turbo in the name, I believe. 3.5 turbo, okay? So that's one free smart app you get in the downloads. Back to the slides. Oh yeah. And then the last one I want to show you, I'm going to do a live demo of a pet project of mine, which was my hobby project in the weekends. But my children play korfbal. It's a sport that's very popular here in Belgium and in the Netherlands. It's like basketball, but without the panel in the back, and it's much, much higher, okay? So I'm a proud dad, and so in the weekends I'm standing at the field, and often they ask the parents to write a match report, right? So to write a summary of how it went and etc. So what I do, proud dad I am, I use something, I use my notes app on the phone to make like steno, very quick notes of what happened. And this is how I did it. So T is, yeah, the opponent, opponent team, tegenstander in Dutch. And so this is how I took notes, right? And then Sunday afternoon, okay, take a cup of coffee, and then I started writing a match report, and 1 hour later, I got a text that I could send to the club, and they publish it, and so I can be a very proud dad. That was my pet project. Now, of course, could we do that with AI? And so this is the result. So this is what they expect. This is like, yeah, started the game with high energy, 30 seconds in the match, bam, bam, bam. This is what I expect, this kind of text, okay? So I'm going to show you what I built. This is the application. And these are all matches, past matches. So I'm going to create a new one. Today, 15. Our team. Opponent team, let's call them the snakes. Color, not important. And then you can start tracking, okay? So the whole thing is about very quickly being able to record what happens. So for instance, we do an attempt, our team makes a shot, but unfortunately they miss. Ouch. Okay, who did it? These are the players. This is my daughter. So, sorry, she missed. Any comments? No. You get a picture, right? And I can add lines and lines and lines. So I'm not going to show you. What it generates. Now I'm going to hit the refresh button. You will see the URL transfer going on. So I'm feeding it a fairly long prompt, which I will reveal immediately. And it's now working. Okay, we're not going to wait on that. I'm going to show you the prompt meanwhile. So this is the application. This is the prompt I use. This is the system message. Help me write match reports for korfball games, okay? Facts about the game. And I use substitute to substitute these placeholder with the current match data. Very easy. Some more comments about the data that will be fed, because I will feed it a record set, like the match events will be fed in encoded fashion so that I don't use too many tokens each time, right? And then some general information about how korfball works, because the first attempt it came back with the match report like he was hitting the net. No, there is no nets in korfball, so I needed to tell it like there are no nets in korfball, that kind of. Great, thank you. So meanwhile, I switch back to FileMaker. My report is in. Yes, you can read all this text. I did it. And it's a good start, and I need to tweak, and I need to change some things, and maybe emphasize some things or omit some things. But this saves me time. This saves me a Sunday afternoon. All right. And a real example that which we are doing for a client, because this was a pet project. We are now working with one client, and I'm not allowed to go in too much detail because they try to be cutting edge. But I can reveal something. What they want to do is basically do bulk checks of companies. So they import a list of like 100 companies based on certain economic criteria. They extract it from like a research tool, Gartner or something. And then they need to verify the company websites to check that what they claim to do or what they claim that their activities are is really displayed on their website and is really true. So that's what we try to do. So it's a combination of web scraping, like visiting 100 company websites, 2 levels deep, which was John's contribution. He did a great job there. We used an external API for that, dedicated web scraping. Don't try to do that on your own. It's a whole science in itself. But we loaded all the text in FileMaker and we feed those website texts to the AI, and then we started asking questions. Is this company involved in this activity, etc.? So FileMaker became the central data hub for basically getting results from the API. So this is the problem I just described, and we want to eliminate companies that do not correspond to a certain set of criteria. And this work used to take weeks for one survey. And they are aiming to reduce it to a couple of days. And we are well on the way of achieving that result. So what we do is we download and compress the website text. John does a great job of eliminating all the duplicate text. Like there's a lot of repetition going on websites, like the navigation bars, you know that. We feed that to the AI prompt, and we craft a custom prompt for each question. That's where FileMaker comes in. So FileMaker assembles the generic prompt and then the specific prompt for each question. And we retrieve the results in JSON and parse it back to FileMaker to generate stats. So this is a screenshot of the company list in FileMaker with a basic company profile. This is a screenshot of the questions. So there are 2 sample questions. Does the company sell shipping containers? Is the company engaged in manufacturing activities? And so normally they have real people going to the website and browsing the website and trying to find something about shipping containers or not. Elimination criteria. And these are the prompts. This is the most interesting part. On the left, you see how it works. So this is the API, ChatGPT API. It's very simple. It's one of the easier APIs to integrate. Just bearer token authentication, so API key authentication, and then a fairly simple post message. And you see the system message, and then the question examples first, and then the real question at the end. Okay, system message, some examples to get predictable JSON output back, and then the final question. And then the prompt is also, like in the previous example, also like a concatenation of generic text and then specific text for that specific company and that specific website. That's where FileMaker is very powerful and very, very easy to generate that kind of scripts. most importantly, we expect predictable output, so JSON output with a score, a certainty score. And it's hard to show in screenshots, but yeah, this is how we set up a question with examples. So we provide it with an example question and an example answer, all in an attempt to generate more predictable results. And it turned out to work very well. The first tests we are doing now return satisfying results. And even if not everything is perfect, they can live with that because it saves them literally weeks of time. So yes, we are using this in production in the real world already. So these were the mandatory topics. Smart app, FileMaker, Dev Assistant. Oh, data analysis, sorry, I cannot miss that. And then I will jump to the merge file, export from my FileMaker database, EngageU, participant, countries, yeah, a couple of data registered on Monday, on Tuesday, full conference, that kind of data, okay? So this is the list of participants. Please make some charts. Make some charts. Why not? And it started on its own. Let's start by examining the contents. And so these errors are misleading. There were no errors, but yeah, it's because I did it a couple of days ago, okay? So it's not valid anymore. So it struggled with the merge format at first, because in Europe we have semicolons and we have these quotes as separators, which is not standard CSV. So it struggled a bit, but it figured out on its own, like, hey, it looks like CSV, okay? And it generated some Python on its own to digest that. And it discovered these fields. And then, well, without me intervening, it came up with this chart, right from the first attempt, without any human intervention, which is not bad, because these are the number of participants per country. And at the same time, it even said, still without my intervention, it said like, hey, Belgium has the highest number of participants, but it seems that there are some data cleanup issues. Do you want me to clean up? So the only thing I put in the mix was, yes, please, clean up, why not? So again, more correct results, and then it discovered, yeah, it was a beautiful conversation there. And then the funny thing was, I could start asking questions to the data, like how many participants are there on Monday? How many participants, let me show you one more example. Oh yes, can you give me a table with country flags? Perfect. I used that in the presentation yesterday, right? How many people will attend the Claris partner meeting? And there it went wrong. I had to nudge it toward the right column in my data, like no, sorry for the scrolling, look at the conference package column. And then it figured it out correctly. So it's a give and take, but you can throw a bunch of data on ChatGPT and start asking questions to your data. I think I took it a little bit further. I'm going to scroll down. Conference. Yeah, I'm going to let go. In another discussion, I did a second attempt and I asked it to make a more beautiful chart, and it added some colors and all that, and that's all possible. But we are running out of time, so all right. So that was an example of data analysis. It's brand new, so I did that last week, and I hadn't had more time to explore more in depth, but you get the picture, I think. Okay, let's jump to the web scraping part for now. Okay. I have some examples of, for instance, turning a website into a chatbot. So you send it to a website, and then you can ask questions to that website, similar to what we are doing for that client that I showed you. Or scrape some website data in table form. Let's try that one. So for instance, on our ClickWorks website, shameless plug, clickworks.eu. We've got some information about our hosting options. We've got some information about add-ons with price information and all that, okay? Now, let's unleash ChatGPT. And I'm using ChatGPT 4 with plugins. This is a really powerful feature of GPT-4. The fact that you can use plugins. Let me just start a new conversation quickly. So you click plugins, and these are the ones I used recently, like image generation and scraper for web scraping. But you can go to the plugin store and find many, many more. There is, for instance, a Spotify plugin. There is a plugin for video captions, so generating text from video, etc., etc. So I use the web scraper plugin. Yeah.
It's a price apart from the subscription itself?
No, it's included. There's no price that I found for plugins so far. Some plugins have a disclaimer and have limited results, and then you should register an account to get complete results like image generation and so on. Now, this is the prompt I gave. Visit the homepage of a company, clickworks.eu, summarize the data you find, return tables only. So I learned how to create more better prompts, okay?